It was wonderful this morning to be with us. And it's always good to have a good opening batsman like Sachin Tendulkar, which we had Brother CB yesterday. I think he set the stage. So I have very few runs to hit. Yeah, so he had scored most of the runs. So that makes the other speakers. And I don't know what joy you will say, but he's actually got the scoreboard ticking yesterday. Yeah. Well, it's my joy this morning to be back with Grace Tabernacle Ministries. It's always a great delight and to see how God has led this church over the years. Well, this morning I thought I'll speak on corporate and the missions. Corporate and missions, I think it's very interesting. Jesus was a very practical person, and I believe the whole of the Bible is a corporate living. God himself had a HR manager, whom I call as Samuel, and Samuel was launched to recruit, give an appointment letter for the king of Israel, and therefore he went like a typical HR manager, almost on the verge of meeting all the competency requirements, competency mappings, first level, second level of interviews, about to issue the offer letter, and God had to intervene and say, hold on, brother, your competency mapping and my competency mappings are different, and therefore you have to take back your offer letter and reissue the offer letter, correct? Jesus himself came into Jerusalem. He read his mission statement in the book of Luke. He quoted from Isaiah 61, and he read the mission statement, and he said, here is my mission statement, and I'm going to accomplish it. So the whole of the Bible is a very corporate way of life, and I work in the corporate, and I do corporate trainings. I work with CEOs, and I often discuss values that come from the Bible, okay? Moses was trying to handle things in his church by himself, doing everything possible, and then came Jethro, a typical businessman, a successful Gujarati. He came along, and he gave some advice. He told him, listen, friend, listen, Moses, you can't run this organization like this. And he gave him 2 HR principles. Jethro gave him very fantastic HR principles, which are now the corporate principles. He said, you need to get team managers appointed. How many of you work in the corporate? Am I making sense? Yeah? You got to get your team managers, team leaders in place. He's given them, team leaders and team managers. Interestingly, he didn't give them SMs. He didn't give a senior manager role. He just gave them team managers. And the first principle he taught them. The second principle he taught Moses was, he said, you have to teach them the escalation matrix. Am I making sense? No? Only few of you are laughing. Yeah? Church. So why I'm quoting this is, Jesus was relevant to the corporate times. Okay? I was told of Einstein. He was conducting exams in the university, and for one such exam, he gave the same question paper that he had given for the previous exam. And the guy who was doing the photocopying and taking the copies came up to Einstein and said, sir, I think it's a mistake. This was the same question paper that you gave last time's exam for the same students. I think you got it by error. Can you correct your question paper? And Einstein said, no, I know it's the same question paper that I'm giving to the boys. The fact is, answers have changed. With times, answers have changed. Agree with me? With times, answers have changed. And today we're living in an era of a corporate environment, and the conventional, traditional, missional approach may not give you results. May not give you results. We work among few Muslims. Hari knows few of them when he was there with us. I had a young, dynamic Muslim lady, party-going, full of life, vibrant young woman. Okay, married, has a young, about 27 years of age. She walked into our church setup once. We interacted, we prayed, we've been having conversations. She walked into our setup, and one of the things, after the end of the worship, you'll all like worship, prophetic words. At the end of the worship, she came up to the mic, picked up he said, can I say something? She said, yeah, please come, picked up the mic. And look at what she said. She said, I drink, I smoke, and I've also tried drugs. Okay? But इस worship में जो kick मिलता है, उधर नहीं मिलता है. इधर जो kick मिला, उधर नहीं मिलता है. Correct? Can you imagine? a lady, Muslim lady coming up. Some of my people fell off the chairs. Yeah, what is this lady saying? Correct? In other sense, she's constantly comparing what you offer to what the world offers. There's a constant debate, friends. There's a constant debate. And church has to become relevant to the times. It's to be relevant. Relevant. Okay? The answers that you gave in your question paper are different today. The questions may be same, but answers are different. And people are not fools outside in the corporate world. They run successful businesses. They are people who make good amount of money, and they have a lot of ethics and values. May not meet up to the holiness standard, but they have ethics and values in their businesses. And we have to interconnect whatever we have to do. And I said, let me set the stage for the corporate missional. The first and the foremost thing that today the corporate worlds are looking for is they're doing exercises after exercises to keep the people highly motivated to be happy. That's their whole endeavor. Many of you work in HR, we have the last working day of the month is to do something to make you happy. No? At least, guys, how many of you work in the corporate? Say yes, no. Yeah? Yeah, raise your hands, corporate guys. Yeah, agreed? Correct? You have a donut Friday, or you have a sandwich Friday, or you have a fancy Friday, or you have the last day of the weekend. We constantly endeavor. There are boards in your main meeting rooms. There are activities. There is a gym. There are a lot of things. They're constantly trying to make you happy. Okay? But different things make different people happy or joyful. Different people. In the Greek, I'm told, peace and joy are interchangeable. They're interchangeable. Peace and joy are interchangeable words. Almost similar that you can use both the words together. And corporate life is about different people have different things that make them happy. For example, Malayalis are happy for 3 things. As I'm reading the Bible more and more, I'm just convinced God is a Malayali. I have a lot of conviction. Okay? I have deep conviction. It will be only revealed when I walk to heaven, but I am convinced. Okay? 3 things make him happy. A house in Kerala. He's the most joyful man. Yeah? Hey, you want to clap? Clap, clap, no problem. Second thing that makes a Malayali very happy, getting married to a Mallu. Are there Malayalis there? Just makes him happy. You can convince the best of the PhD degrees and say, this is the best girl, you need to get married. His last and final verdict, Mallu ano? Is she a Malayali? So that makes him happy, correct? Third thing that makes a Mallu happy, Dubai. Just likes to go to once. You agree with me? Yeah? That's what makes people extremely happy. A man was trying to make himself fit, and he walked into a gymnasium. An old man, 65 years, and he said, you know what? You've got so many machines here. I want to try one machine that makes my wife happy. Yet what the gymnast said, or the trainer said, sir, outside the gymnasium, there's an ATM. Why don't you try that? Definitely make your spouse happy. Correct? So joy is a source of everything. And all that I want to say today is everything people do in the corporate. Corporate, 3 things make them very happy. A good CTC. No? Salary. Good pay package makes them very, very happy. Okay? A letter of appreciation makes them very, very happy. Whether that has got any relevance or not, it doesn't matter. They just got a letter of appreciation. It gives them a kick, and they feel highly motivated. The third thing that really makes them joyful is a pat on the back. Everybody today wants a pat. Okay? Everybody needs a pat, and they just need to be encouraged. That makes them joyful. So my question to you, friends, before I begin my talk, are you joyful? be joyful. And I often ask this question. You're asking a guy who works 5 days or 6 days in a week. Often his working hours extend to about 16 hours a day, includes travel. And he's got one prime day of the week, seventh day, the Sunday. He's got the prime day of his week. And even that day you're saying, give 6 hours to church. The prime day of his week, okay? He doesn't know anything about you. He doesn't know anything about church. Non-Christian. And you're saying, come to church, the prime day of your week. 6 days to slog. That's the only day of rest. And then you're just back to life again. Okay? There has to be something that the church has to offer to make him take that decision to sacrifice his prime day to explore what you're offering him. And the world has got multiple things to offer him. And we need to take a decision whether we offer him. And the greatest thing that we have is we are joyful. The greatest thing is we are joyful. Okay, let me just take you through my presentation today. Ask your neighbor, are you joyful? Are you joyful? Okay, ask, okay? Ask. It's good. It's good. You know, sometimes some of the Christians I met are so dull that you feel like saying in your heart, idhar mila, upar mat milna. So dull. Like as if Jesus carried one cross, they're carrying about 15, 16 crosses. Okay? It's like that. You feel as if the whole world's weight is on their lives. Guys, kingdom, I come from a Hindu background. The greatest thing that happened to me is I've restored my life of joy. Okay, the first thing that happened to me is yesterday, Brother CB took us through Peter. You know, he wasn't washing his nets, dancing, I didn't catch fish, I didn't catch fish, I didn't catch fish. No. Was he like that? He was washing his nets. What a waste of day. What will I tell my wife? How will I pay my bills? Correct? But somehow he had 1 year aligned to Jesus. He was a little far away talking to him, but he was washing his nets, not celebrating. Washing his nets with deep sense of weighing. It's sizable amount of energy that has gone in. Sizable amount of resources that he's put in. And he's actually not reaped a harvest. And the next thing that happened was, he listened to Jesus. What happened? I'm sure when they pulled the nets, they would have said like traditional, you know, haisa, something in Telugu, haisa, whatever is that, you know. You would have said, wow. So what was the transformation? Meeting Jesus is joy. The first thing that happens is when you meet Jesus, is joy becomes evident in your life. And that the world cannot offer in CTCs or pay packages or whatever you can look at, okay? Am I joyful? There are a lot of theories available, okay? Corporate Missional has got a lot of theories, okay? You can find a lot of therapies available. There are a lot of corporates that have started yoga to make people happy. There are a lot of corporates that have put feng shuis in front of their, corporate segments. And there are a lot of people who given flexi working hours. There are a lot of people who said work from home makes people happy. A lot of therapies that they've devised, okay? There are a lot of things that, you know, with the demonetization that came across, everybody said transfer money from banks, correct? I'm told of a story where the maid of the house said, demonetization, the prime minister has issued demonetization. I can't pay you in cash. Give me your bank account, I'll do online transfer. And the maid said, thank you, madam, you do online transfer, and I'll exercise the option of working from home. Correct? Demonetization. Imagine your maid says, I'll work from home. You do online transactions, correct? Lot of therapies that make you happy. There's a constant endeavor. KFC, buy one, get 3 free. Correct? Buy one shirt, get 4 free. Correct? It doesn't matter, just to make you happy. There are a lot of schemes and therapies that are there, and we are part of that. Everyone says they want to be actually happy, but actually what they're saying is they want to be joyful. They want to be joyful. Okay, that is why they say, happily married ever after. Correct? I wish that is true. Okay? Don't like to see a dull or a sad or a very turning face in the morning. You know, it's very, very, sometimes we say, we met with an accident and we say, kiska shakal dekha yaar, subah subah. Correct? And you'll be surprised, most of the times it is your face. Because we live in a very, we don't live in community livings anymore. One bedroom. और कोई हो ही नहीं सकता उधर. And then you have explored and said, kiska shakal dekha. What face did I see? Most of the times it is your own face. Don't blame. The Bible says a merry heart does good like medicine, but a broken spirit dries up the bones. We are different. We are different because our heart is merry. Heart is merry. And people in your colleagues see, they have the same 24 hours you got. They've got the same problems that you have got. They've got the same bank balances you have got. They're going through the same Aadhaar card linking like you have gone through. Absolutely no difference. Absolutely no difference. But what is the difference is that you have a merry heart. You have a heart that is constantly bubbling, constantly excited, constantly making you different. Your marriage is different in the same circumstances. Same circumstances. You are different. You know what? I use the foundation of the rock and the sand. Same. Both of them had the same resources. They had the same Ambuja cement. He also had the same Ambuja cement. He had the same sand. He also had the same sand. In fact, the architect of both was same. Both was same. The planning was same. They went to the same church, same pastor. But one built his house on the rock, and one built his house on the sand. Are you with me? And that is the difference of the two buildings. On what it stands determines where that particular building is. And your life stands on the rock. In the same circumstances, you have learned to build your house on the rock. And they are still grappling on the sand. That's the difference of their life and my life, okay? Your life and corporate life. And that's what corporate world is. It's good, it's so good that today psychologists and doctors use this for our treatment. Same Proverbs. Most of the psychologists say to those people who are suffering from depression, the best anti-depression drug is to laugh. Be merry. Be cheerful. Smile. Make constantly be happy. Because nothing is going to change by being sad. Nothing is going to change. Nothing is going to change. There's a WhatsApp floating around in the last few days since the Prime Minister is in Davos. They said, keep checking your bank accounts. Since the Prime Minister is in Switzerland, you may have a sudden transfer of 15 lakhs or 16,000. Correct? There's a viral WhatsApp that's going. Since he's in Switzerland, all the black money he'll be transferring to the people in India. Okay? It's just that people are excited, joyful, thrilled. And there are moments of excitement. The whole of WhatsApp is about humor. And life has to be full of life. You know what? Jesus said, I've come to give you life, life in its fullness. And I want to tell you, friends, earth is not a bad place. It's a beautiful place to really enjoy. Okay, there are some things you only get in earth. Yesterday we were talking in Mohan's house. They had taken his uncle, who's quite in age, and they took him to see the Lulu Mall. Okay, even at that age, you can't miss, because there are no Lulu Malls in heaven. There are no. Tirupati Laddu, you don't get it in heaven. If you've not had it, you missed it, man. Just don't miss. Marriages are not in heaven. You missed it, those of you. Udhar aake roke koi fayda nahi. Your pastor can do nothing. You must enjoy the earth. So can you nudge your neighbor and say, are you really enjoying life on the earth? Okay? You should have life full of excitement, because the Bible says that Jesus has come to give us life, and life in its fullness. The best treatment is laugh. I was telling Mohan, that the chemical formula, most of us say we lose weight, correct? We lose weight. Like somebody's I think her name is Rijitwa Dwakar. She said she's the one who helped Ambani's son to lose weight. And she said, I've helped him to lose weight. And then she put, those of you interested, you can take the article from me. I'll forward it to you. She said 3 things you should not ever disengage with: rice, ghee, and sugar. Wow, that's a good news for many of us. And she made him lose about 104 kgs. 3 things: ghee, rice, and sugar. That's a party time, man. Okay, for people in Andhra. Correct? It's just that. Okay, and you just didn't. I had an Israelite guy who came, and I was taking him around the city, and he's a physicist. And he traveled around the Bangalore city. And as he was traveling around, the first time he's come to India, he's never seen cars so close. And he's analyzing, he's a physicist, analyzing in his mind. At the end of the ride, I said, how is India traffic? I said, it is organized chaos. So now I understand protons, neutrons, why they can move around without touching each other. Physics समझ में आया, उसके लिए he has to come to Bangalore traffic to understand. Physicist. Organized. Everything stops, everything moves, he says. Everything stops, everything moves. Wow. Have fun, guys. Life in Christ is fun, exciting, beautiful. You know why? This is what Jesus said. You will have a lot of troubles in this world, but the best mantra he gave us: be of good cheer. Hallelujah. What a word he used. He just said, laugh, scream, shout, because be of good cheer, for I have overcome the world. Hallelujah. You will have problems. Your salaries will not come on time. Your promotions may not get through. Okay, somebody else will push you. Be of good cheer. Be happy. Be merry. Celebrate. Dance. Just be good. You know why? You have one who walked ahead of you, and he's going to make things in place for you. He's going to work all things good for us. Okay? Be of good cheer. And I looked at the life of Saul, the first corporate manager in the world. Wow. I envy this guy, Saul. He didn't have a line manager. Do you know that? He had nobody to be accountable to. He worked under no boss. He was a boss for himself. Imagine, you're the CEO of IBM or one of the big companies, PepsiCo. There is nobody that you have to be accountable to. Correct? Would you like that position? No? Not really? Then you should not be in the corporate. Get into full-time ministry. In the corporate world, it's a success ladder. It's a success ladder. And in this ladder, that's the last beam. And you've reached the peak. Saul was given the first appointment to be the CEO of the nation, to be the king of the nation, to be the one who will run. In fact, he didn't even have a board to be accountable to. What a relief. What a sigh. What a joy. Okay, I work with a lot of organizations, helping them into getting their trusts and boards into place, and often it's something that you're accountable for. And then here is Saul, who's actually setting up a brand new entity. Not at all. And I was looking at his life, okay? He was a supreme commander of the nation. Imagine that you've been told you're the supreme commander of a particular company. You're the best, okay? The best in the land was his. Any good thing that gets released, the best of the car, the best of the vehicle, the best of the shop, everything was his. One comes to him, okay? It always comes to him. Everyone and anything, everything happens to be at his beck and call. How many of you think if Saul wanted chicken with some kind of a soup, it will come? It should come? No? Correct? You're not thinking. I know there wasn't KFCs those days, but I'm sure he would have got whatever he wanted, okay? All of the wealth, gold, silver, and everything was at his beck and choice, which means Joy Alcaz, or whatever, diamonds, Tanishq, everything was his. He had the greatest privilege to pick things up. Greatest privilege to pick things up, okay? He was the first king of Israel, therefore he didn't have anybody to be accountable. He had wealth, fame, authority, And I said, why shouldn't this guy not be happy and live a life of good cheer? Don't you think so? Correct? He had everything, man. What should have, actually, if I was Saul's place, I would have said, boss, you run the country. Let me have a party, enjoy life. Correct? Dance, explore, travel, see new places, try new horses. Correct? A lot of things are there. You would have done a lot of new things. Correct? I'm reading a book. I've just finished reading a book called Off Time by a person called Bob. And he's written this book, beautiful book. And he says, your off time starts at 44. Starts at 44. And I'm 45. I read it a year back. And he says, starts at 44. And he says, 6 years you need to prepare to enter into the off time. I'm in that preparation stage. And I took that book very seriously to enter my off time, to do something significant, exciting. And he says, the fun in the off time should be at least 3 times the first time. It should be at least, some of you are thinking, first time only, Babu, in 3 times it, correct? He says 3 times you need to have fun in your off time. You really need to set up. Your marriage should be so exciting. Time with children should be so exciting. You know, whatever you do should be so exciting. And he's actually a CEO of a company, and he actually loses his son when he wrote this book. There's a beautiful chapter in that book. His son loves to explore, swimming across, canoeing across streams. A 24-year-old guy, successful, a student of the Harvard, started making millions. One day explores new things and explores the river, and in the river he dies. But before he went for this expedition, he puts a small piece of paper on his dashboard, a letter to his dad. And the letter says this: Dad, if you're reading this letter, it means I'm no more. I've gone for this canoeing. I thought I will take out this letter if I'm not. And then he says how his dad has taught him the biggest relationship is Jesus Christ. And this man comes with joy and comfort, knowing that his son is in a place of good cheer. And then he begins his halftime of enjoying life beyond what he's seeing in the first time. We will have problems. We will be diagnosed with BP and diabetics or whatever you've got. Be of good cheer. Nothing is normal. Okay? It's just that we need to push ourselves excelling. And Saul had everything possible, but he wasn't of good cheer. He wasn't of good cheer. And you can make out the good cheer in your lives, you know. And the best people who make out the good cheer in life are not people in the church, people outside the church. You know what the biggest comparison non-Christian people made about Jesus when they met him, when they saw him preaching in the streets of Jerusalem and Israel? The greatest, the first comparison that they made, this is what he said: isn't he the carpenter's son, whose brothers and sisters we know? In another sense, when people meet you, they should say, isn't he the person who worked in IBM? And I know his line manager. What a comparison. I think the best of the furniture ever made in Israel came from the shop that Jesus actually worked for 18 years. He was a carpenter. Yesterday, I think CB brought it out. He's a carpenter's son. And I'm sure he was the best carpenter. He excelled in the corporate world. And therefore, people could not connect him to the Old Testament. People didn't know anything about the Old Testament, compared him with the first reference point from his place of work. They never read Genesis. They never read Exodus. Many of them who compared. They don't know head and tail about prophecies. So they said, this guy is teaching, and I want to connect him to a point of reference. And his point of reference is, I've seen him in the professional world, and he's excellent. Therefore, his teachings are relevant. We have to excel in the professional world. That's how they related Jesus. And then they related him to his family, brothers and sisters. And then it went on, okay? Saul did not live a life of good cheer. And this is my conclusion about Saul. The list goes on. The conclusion about Saul is, first of all, he wasn't a very cheerful guy. Okay? He lived a very sulking, depressing life. He lived a very discontent, unhappy life. Okay? He wasn't enjoying his life at all. He was a tantrum thrower and mood swings, typically a type A personality candidate. Typically. He would have gone into a type A crisis depression treatment. Thank God he wasn't in the 21st century. Okay? He's that. One word, he was a lunatic, a mental case. Typical mental case. How do I know it? Read the Bible. Read the Bible. I do not know what people tell about you in the corporate. Are ye gaya iska. You know, the first church I attended was a Malayalam church. Thomas took me to the Malayalam church. And those days I had moustache. And every Tamilian is proud of one thing. Singam. Moustache. And this church was a typical church that never believed in moustache. Soon after the church, a Hindu guy walking into a church for the first time, after the church was over, the pastor said, "Come, I want to talk to you." So he took me to his room, and he then gave me a long lecture how man should not have moustache because we are called the bride of Christ. And he said, imagine you're getting married. Imagine you're getting married and your wife walks into your bedroom with moustache. How do you feel? My goodness, I was convinced. Fell flat for this guy. And I lost my moustache. 16 January 1991. That's finished. I never had moustache after that. Okay? Only later on I realized the bride that was spoken of in the Bible and the literal bride are two different things. But that imaginary visual, he said about dreaming, imagining yesterday, I was thinking how the pastor imagined bride of Christ. How dangerous it could be that you have somebody, correct? And people make out whether you're happy or not happy. I was told people, you can make out, there are 4 stages of marriages. And they say that you can make out which stage of the marriage they are in. How? By the smell that comes from the bedroom. From the smell, the perfume, the things that come out from the bedroom. Let me just explain to you. Some of you are curious to know which stage you are in. Okay? The session is on joyful, so I have to make you joyful so that a merry heart, correct? Stage 1. If out of the bedroom comes acts, temptation, passion, lot of perfumes are there, correct? Fog, correct? Don't use fog, it's dangerous. All the girls come inside the same bedroom. Don't use that ad, okay? So, from the smell you know that they do marriage, they do marriage counseling. Yeah, how many married couples? You are looking at aisa bhi stage hota hai kya tum log se? Raise your hands, married people. Hota hai? You are scratching your head. Aisa stage tha, kab guzar gaya hum log is stage. Okay, stage 1. They are in the early stages of marriage. So there's a lot of romance, there's a lot of, cloud night. Oh, cloud 9, okay, cloud 9, a lot of things, okay. Stage 2. If the bedroom smells of Johnson's powder, Johnson's soap, Johnson's soil, you're in stage 2. Correct? You know now. In Navy, the name used for a married guy is bundle man. Shuru ho gaya life iska. Aja bhai, welcome to the flock of sheep. Correct? It's welcome. Stage 3. If your bedroom smells of Iodex, Vicks, healing, and you walk into the bedroom and next to the lampshade is Iodex, pain bomb, you don't have to ask them, how many years are you married? You know which stage of marriage they're in, correct? You can make out. Stage 4. You want to know or should we stop there? Stage 4, if it smells of agarbatti incense, ek chala gaya, dusra wait kar raha hai. Kyun kiya tune? Correct? Me and Suni often have this joke. I have a house in Vizag and I have a house in Kodaikanal. I said, Suni, if I die before you, you settle in Kodai. But if you die before me, I'll settle in Vizag. And Suni says, don't have any hopes. If I die before you, I'll get you the very next day up. I have no plans. Absolutely don't dream of anything. The first petition I'm going to put to God is get this guy up. Wow. Okay? It's good to have. And he was actually a lunatic, a mad guy. He didn't know. He wasn't enjoying his life. 3 reasons why people don't enjoy life and people don't see you relevant to the corporate. He wasn't happy because he had a very high self-esteem. Very high self-esteem. Self-esteem is good. But everybody in the corporate world has high self-esteem. And if you also have very high self-esteem, your gospel will become irrelevant to those times. Jesus said in the world, you know what? This is what Jesus taught his disciples. No matter how big cat you are in the room, what matters to me is how you treat the lowest cat in the room. And that's what Jesus did in the washing of the disciples' feet. He was the biggest cat in that room. But he washed the disciples' feet. And he told them, after I go, you will be the biggest cat. But when you become the biggest cat, do likewise. Serve people at the point of need. I think I want to tell you, friends, your self-esteem can come because of your holiness, the times you spend with God, your prayer, all that is fantastic. But what people have to see is servant nature. They have to see Christ in you. They don't have time to read the Bible anymore. Today, people can't watch a video more than 46 minutes, or 46 seconds. Okay, 3 minutes have come down. 116 characters and above, it makes them boring to read the text. Okay, we're living in a period of dip feed. They call it as a drip feed. Okay, constantly, dire, feed karo. And the most fantastic way in the corporate world to show your life is visual representation of servant nature. Visual representation of servant nature. Okay? If you are the team manager, let your team see you putting the chairs. Let the team see you while you pick up your coffee, bringing a coffee for another colleague of yours. Small things. When you finished your coffee cup and throwing it into the dustbin, you ask, can I take yours? And throw it. These are glitches that you touch the life in the corporate world. Okay? Don't go with an agenda to get him to church. The church has to go there. The church has to go there, into their environment. Be among them, relevant among them. Okay? Don't be bossy. And the first thing that Saul had was a very high self-esteem. Friends, I want to say that only God has no co-equals. Okay? There is no one better than him, is only God. Okay? And you should be in that place. Jesus said this. I am the Son of God, but you will do greater things than me. What a humility. You will do greater things than me. Because he's working under you, he will do greater things than you. He will do. And your team has to know in the corporate world that I'm working under a boss who's constantly empowering me to surpass him. Because the corporate world is, they just dabafy, keep people there, and they don't allow it to move forward. Self-esteem, okay? And Jesus said that you will do greater things than what I will do. Okay, God has no co-equals. And Jesus said to them that if you believe, there is a second thing why you're not relevant. Okay, if you have can you just look to your neighbor and say, I have no high self-esteem. Can you say that to your neighbor? And if that person is not responding, ask him once again because he's shocked. Yeah, is it okay? Okay, and only God has no co-equals. There is no one better than God. They cannot be, they will not be, they'll never be. But there will always be people better than you. Okay, if you are a team manager, the one who's going to come after you will be a better team manager. And should be a better team manager. Because kingdom is a progressive kingdom. Okay? Second thing is that He made a very subconscious assumption. A very subconscious assumption. Most of us enter the corporate world with a subconscious assumption. Okay? A subconscious assumption. The subconscious assumption is, this guy can never change. Nothing will change. Nothing will change in his life. We were ministering to a family, a very elderly family. He lived most of his life in Nigeria. And then he relocated to Bangalore. And in one of the meetings, I bumped into him, a very pious Hindu. I think Hari knows him. He would wear a lot of chains. He would wear very religious. You walk into his home, everything is full of idolatry. But a very senior guy, very senior man, okay, at the level of a corporate president. And I bumped into him one of the meeting, and somehow we got connected. And in the process, he would ask me, what do you do on Sundays, man? I said, sir, I go to church. Hey, come on, why have you not invited me? I said, sir, come on. And he would come with his wife, and he would come there, but he was a very thorough gentleman. He would come, he would share from the Bible. He knows he's coming to the church. He will read some portions from the Bible, and he would come and quote from the Bible. Okay, very sweet man. We had a lovely time with him. One day, but he never moved from that engagement, come to church, attend, and our association was about 5.5 months. One day I got a call on a Monday morning. He said, Ashok, I've got acute pain. So we rushed him to Manipal Hospital. We took him to the Manipal Hospital. They did the scan, and within 24 hours, they said he's been diagnosed with stomach cancer, final stages. We have to do a surgery. So lo and behold, we went ahead with the surgery. Surgery happened on Wednesday morning, came out of the OT on Wednesday evening. Thursday, he was fine. Friday, he was fine. Every day, there was a team that was visiting me, and Sunny would visit. And every time I would go, he would ask me to read a portion from the Bible. I would do that. Pray with him, bless him. Maybe sometimes carry a song we would sing. And on Saturday, till Saturday, we were thinking he'll get discharged. But Sunday morning, I got a call that he passed away. And I was heading towards the church, and I get this call from him, crying, saying that come to Manipal. So I rushed to Manipal, and we did the formalities and all that. He said on Saturday evening, he had requested one last request of his on a dying bed. Many of you will be surprised to what he requested. He said, ask Ashok to conduct my last rites in the Christian manner. Okay? So lo and behold, I went to a Hindu cemetery in Bangalore with all his relatives. Okay? And we buried him and did the whole ceremony like a Christian ceremony. Okay? Read the Bible, praise and worship, give God the glory, and I claimed him for I do not know the outcome of this relationship. Only when I get to heaven, I'll get to the flip side. But what I want to tell you, friends, is, sometimes subconscious assumption can drive us away from connecting to people. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay? It wasn't easy for you to come to the Lord. There are many times I have rejected the faith. You have rejected the faith. Even now you're struggling to hold on to the faith. How much more for them? So don't make subconscious assumptions. They could be very dangerous. Okay? The defeat is accepted when you make assumptions. Okay? Feelings are most of the time wrong. Don't go by feelings. Always go by facts. If you're reaching out to non-Christian people, go by facts. Go by facts. Jesus gave the example of the lepers to the corporate world. 90% attrition is permitted. The parable of the sower, 95% of attrition is permitted. Perfectly okay. It's permitted, okay? Because what matters is, did you sow? Did you reach out? That's the missional corporate world. Don't go by feelings, okay? Feelings could be like this. All pastors are like this, okay? All Bengalis are like this. You have these feelings? All Bengalis are like this. All Americans are like this. You may be wrong in your judgment. Don't go by that. Lastly, he had a new implant loaded into his life, okay, which is called jealousy. He just implanted it. Many of us today implant lot of devices into our life. From that time, the Bible says he kept a jealous eye on David, because David wasn't his competitor. He had nothing to do with him. He just came, did his job, he wanted to move on. In fact, he wasn't even aspiring to become a king. He was a, he was actually having more fun, enjoying life, looking after the sheep, doing things, going out, and he didn't give up. He didn't give up. But I like the way sometimes God uses our lives. Okay? He was a fun-loving David God used. Sometimes we have certain implants loaded in our life. It could be jealousy. Okay, I can learn suspicion. You could have a lot of egos. You could have a lot of past experiences, bitterness. Okay, there's a constantly ringed up, and that is affecting your social life with the people. Social life with the people. And if you really want to be the corporate missional guy, you should be there. What makes them? If they invite you for a housewarming, please go and visit. Because those are opportunities for you to put your foothold and talk about it. Recently, I was invited for a Muslim wedding. He invited me for his daughter's wedding. And he made me sit along with all the mullahs in that wedding. And the mullahs finished their preaching. At the end of it, he said, I have a very good friend, but he also believes in the Bible. So very strongly he believes. I want him to come and read a portion from the Bible for my daughter and pray for her. I said, wow. Correct? He's a wealthy man. Okay? Sometimes you do not know, but be available in moments like this where they recognize who you are and they find Christ Jesus. Okay? Byproducts of not being joyful, you will have health issues. Okay? There are some doctors here. You're not healthy in your relationships, not sensitive to the people and their problems. They have high mood swings and they have tantrums. Not part of the team, and they generally operate as silo operators. They're lone rangers. Okay? Don't be that. Be among the team. Involve among the team. Let the company know that you are part and parcel of. One thing, no one likes to see your face in the morning. You're dying actually every day. Saul lived his remaining part of his life dying every day. There wasn't any excitement in his life. Okay? And as I conclude, okay, Bible says, Jesus said, I've come to give you life and life in its fullness. But the thief comes to steal, to rob, and to destroy. Devil has 3 tasks. Okay? The tasks are to destroy your joy, to kill your joy, and to rob your life of joy. 3 things. Okay? He's come there to kill it, to destroy it, and somehow he wants to steal your joy. And often he steals your joy in comparison, in asking, in looking at lives of people. And may your life be the one that people will look at. Devil has a non-missional task, whereas you have a missional task. The task is, when I came to church, the first song that attracted me was this. Now it is banned in GMI. We don't play. There are some list of songs that are banned. This one of the censor board has not approved this song anymore in our GMI circle. It is the joy of the Lord is my strength, and the devil doesn't like it when we laugh. That's how you laugh, friends, after such a big sermon on joy. Okay? The devil doesn't like it when we laugh. He likes this. Can you have once again? The devil doesn't like it when we laugh. It's a release. Okay? And I was telling you, most of you think, where does the weight go? Correct? Where does the weight go when you lose weight? 30, 40, where does it go? Have you searched it anywhere? You know where the food has gone. Because Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh both are visible. Correct? Very evidently visible. Correct? But there are some people who work in the, both of us together, husband and wife, are saying our weight is okay. Average of the both is okay. One is thin, one is fat. But that is not. It is about individual weight. You get to heaven with your Madhya Pradesh and with your Uttar Pradesh. So be careful. Where does the weight go? The weight has a chemical formula. The chemical formula is C16H21O36. It's carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. And when you laugh, ha, 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 what comes out? Carbon dioxide. You will lose weight. No? You not got it? Please, because there is a laughing club, and the laughing club makes you do only ha, 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 ha. Suddenly you'll feel gaya upar. Constantly clean. I had an admiral who used to go to our laughing club. One morning, we were off the beach in Kakinada. And early morning, I took him because the beaching operation was supposed to start with the sunrise at 6 o'clock. And I went to half an hour early thinking to keep. And lo and behold, the ships which are supposed to do beaching operation got delayed by 4 hours. And from there, I got a call from the fleet operations officer. He said, 4 घंटे का delay है हिंदी में. लेना. I was sub-lieutenant. He is Goliath. Can you imagine? So I very fearfully went and said, sir, Admiral sir, there's a delay in the beaching operations. What? So there's a delay in beaching operations. How many? 4 hours. 4 hours! And then he said, ha, 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 ha. On the beach he started walking. I've never seen a laughing club guy. This is the first time I'm seeing. I called back the fool. I said, sir, Gaya. He said, what is he doing? He said, oh, हंस रहा है. हाँ, फिर ठीक है. वो laughing club member है. मतलब उसका pressure ease कर रहा है. करने दो, to disturb मत कर. For the next 1 hour, he was laughing. Till the beach. Okay? He was losing weight. And if you laugh more, friends, Madhya Pradesh will disappear. Okay? And so will Uttar Pradesh. And you will be healthy. And people will see, if they don't even receive your gospel, at least they will look at your physique and say, स्मार्ट दिख रहा है यार, क्या करता है, आजा चर्च, मैं बता दूं क्या करता है. John 3:16 समझ में नहीं आया, but physical fitness. Great. God bless you.